Larry, I want to start with this strange sort of news that everybody's talking about. You look at the mainstream media, CNN, Fox News, Wall Street Journal, each and every outlet is talking about the assassination of Donald Trump. As Wall Street Journal reported that Donald Trump flew the older Air Force One from Turkey to the United Kingdom before switching back to the newer aircraft for the final leg to Washington. And it seems that Israeli intelligence reported that Iranians are trying to assassinate Donald Trump. What do we know about that, and how? What is your assessment of that?
Well, given Donald Trump's track record of involvement with the assassination of General Soleimani, the assassination of Ali Khamenei, assassination of Ali Larijani, a number of assassinations that have Trump's hands covered in blood. Sure, it'd be ultimate karma for that to happen, but Iran's not doing this. This is an intelligence operation designed to create more justification for the United States to expand the war, try to renew the war with Iran at a time when the United States really is not economically capable of doing it. Let me remind you of this assassination plot back in 2024, and which a guy named Farhad Shakeri, he was charged as the leader of this plot that was going to assassinate some Iranians, but ultimately it was part of the overall plot to go get Trump. Well, Shakari came to the United States back in 1978, 77, somewhere in there, when he was a youngster, and he subsequently got into some criminal activity, spent 14 years in a U.S. prison, made a bunch of buddies there, then got deported in 2008. It's not clear if he got deported to Afghanistan or not, but anyway, he wound up in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, he got caught up in a big heroin deal, gets arrested, magically gets out of jail within the week. How does that happen? Well, there's only one way that happens. He became a cooperating informant, a human asset for DEA, and as it turns out, for CIA. He was then, as under his CIA cover, he was sent back to Iran, got a job in the oil industry, and then allegedly made contact with IRGC, who asked him to carry out assassinations in the United States. And so he gets on the phone with two of his old prison buddies. One guy named Carlisle Rivera. He was known as Pop, 49 years of age, back in Brooklyn, New York. And Jonathan Lodholt of Staten Island, New York. Well, so, they hear from their long-lost prison buddy who's offering them money to go out and kill somebody. They go, oh, okay, sounds like a good idea. And this was presented as if it was a major Iranian IRGC plot. It was complete bullshit. This guy was acting as a provocateur, as an inciter, working on behalf of the CIA to create this narrative, help create this narrative of Iran as this country that's keen on assassinating Americans, whereas the United States, we're just minding our business. We're busy singing Christian hymns and reading from the Quran. We're all about peace. We're not out assassinating people right and left. It's just nonsense. So all this is just another effort to try by a desperate Zionist lobby to create pressure on Trump, continue the war against Iran.
Yeah. What is, Larry, who has the upper hand when it comes to the West Asia, and what is the relationship between CIA and Mossad when it comes to this sort of intelligence, and because after all, with the war against Iran, each and every, going back to the war in Iraq, They started based on the Israeli intelligence. They said that they have this and that. The war in Iraq has started, and then, after many years, they got back. Then the war against Iran based on the Israeli intelligence again and again. And how many times do they need to receive false information from Israelis to finally get to the point that these information, these intelligence are all based on the Israeli perception and the way that they want to manipulate the United States into new fronts, new wars?
Yeah. There's not, depending on who you talk to. One of my old, she was in my original career trainee class back at 1985, Susan Miller. She's out public now, so I'm not divulging any classified information. She was the station chief for Tel Aviv for several years and claimed they had close working relationship with Mossad. John Kiriakou claims that, while the United States didn't spy on Israel, we tried to keep the Israelis as much at arm's length as possible. So it depends. It is a one-way street. Israel will feed us what it wants to feed us in order to produce a particular outcome. It's just like with the 9/11 attacks. Israel knew those were coming, and they did nothing to stop it because they wanted it to happen, knowing that it would put the United States full blown into the wars in the Middle East, taking out enemies that Israel wanted to get rid of. So, this is if you say who's up, who's down, Israel is a global pariah now. Even in the United States, public opinion is turning against Israel, not for Israel. So, whereas, Iran's standing among at least the global South has gone up, not down. So, the United States is caught now because they've tried to use force to compel Iran to open up the Strait of Hormuz. And again, I think Iran's at the stage now where they'll make a declaration that any ship that's owned, operated, or destined for the United States will not be allowed out of the Persian Gulf. It'll only be allowed out at such time as the United States fulfills its promises under the MOU.
Yeah, today they announced, the U.S. Treasury announced they imposed new sanctions against Iran, which is against the clause, the paragraph 9 of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding. They say, and the United States of America will not impose any new sanctions. It was mentioned in paragraph 9.
Yeah, I don't know why at this point Iran just needs to say fuck it. The MOU is dead, and just enforce control over the Strait of Hormuz. Make it at this point it's a friend and family program. If you are friends with Iran, if you are supporting Iran, you get your products get in and out. If you're going to the United States or Israel, fuck you. You're not going anywhere. That's one way to get the attention of Trump and his team, because the United States absolutely has to have the petroleum that's coming out of the Persian Gulf. Without it, the United States is going to face shortages of diesel and aviation fuel.
Today we had the Qatari delegation. And
which delegation?
Qatari.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they went to Tehran to talk with Iranian officials to find some sort of, I don't know what are they talking about anymore. Actually, it's so difficult to understand what's going on with with Pakistani, with Qatari. Today going there to talk about what? Yeah. Which part of the MOU you basically want to talk about? Which part?
No, again, there's nothing to talk about. Hang on, I'm just looking up to see what okay. So notice the markets are now closed. And what does the Trump administration come out? They've now issued an ultimatum that Iran must open the Strait of Hormuz, commit to halting attacks on commercial shipping, in the next 24 hours or face severe consequences. All right. So the United States is going to start launching attacks, and Iran is going to retaliate. And the United States, I'll venture to say, the United States is going to suffer more damage than Iran. And the other Gulf countries, they better choose which side they're on, because you don't get to be on both sides. They're going to choose one side of the fence or the other. If they facilitate in any way U.S. attacks on Iran, they'll be attacked. So Kuwaitis, Saudis, Qataris, Bahrainis, Emiratis, they got 24 hours to figure out whose side they're on.
Yeah. Here's Axis said the Trump administration is demanding that Iran issue a public statement announcing that the Strait of Hormuz is open.
Yeah.
So
here'll be a Iran statement. Hey, Trump, go fuck yourself. However you say that in Farsi.
In Farsi, Larry, you can say it in 100 ways.
Well, they ought to just set up a broadcasting
it's so
station.
Deep, by the way, when you say that.
That every minute they put out a new phrasing of that over and over and over to the Trump administration. They're not going to be bullied. Iran is not going to be bullied on this, and this administration is making a another grave strategic mistake. They want to talk about the outrage. Oh, Iran's trying to assassinate our president. Well, what the fuck did the U.S. just do to Iran on the 28th of February? Shut up. I mean, it really is. It's outrageous. The hypocrisy, the audacity. We assassinate whomever, whenever we want, and then we cry like little schoolgirls when we're facing a potential threat, or in this case, we're making the threat up in order to justify the attacks that we're going to unleash on Iran in the next 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah, they're going to attack. And do you believe that they're going to attack